The third programming construct we're going to talk about is iteration or looping or repetition. In fact, it is almost impossible to write a meaningful program in real life without using decisions and iteration or looping. The word iteration or looping really indicates doing a given task again and again as long as the condition remains true or a given number of times. The first looping construct we're going to take a look at is the while looping construct, followed by the do while and then the for looping construct. So in order to understand the looping construct, let's jump on to a small example in this screen. So here if you look at this white portion here, just focus yourself on this particular portion. I've taken a memory location with the value I is equal to 1. What am I doing? As long as the value of I happens to be less than or equal to 5, I am executing these two statements repeatedly. So first I am going to print I, which happens to be 1. Next I is increased by 1, I becomes 2. 2 is still less than or equal to 5, so it's going to print 2. I is then going to be equal to 3. So between this while and end of while, whatever statements are there, they will be executed as long as the value of this particular I fellow is less than or equal to I. So this is an example of looping or repetition. Now if you want to take a look at the general syntax, while test condition. What is the test condition in my case? I less than or equal to 5. And end of while, I have end of while. What is statement 1, statement 2? It is print I and I is assigned I plus 1. So this is the way a repeated set of statements get executed using the while loop. We have seen something like this in algorithms. So you should have got a fair hang of what is a while loop. Now just in case you wanted to take a look at the syntax, okay, through this graphical way, this is how it will look graphically. So is test condition. What is my test condition? I less than or equal to 5. It can be true or it can be this side, it can be false. Since it's true, I am going to execute statement 1, statement 2. After I execute them, I need to go back and check whether the test condition is true or false. If the test condition is true, I need to continue to execute this statement. The minute the test condition is false, I need to come out of the loop and continue to execute the next statements which follow the loop. So this is an example of how you end up doing a while construct or a while loop. The important thing in the while loop is you're checking the condition first. Here you can see you're checking the condition before you execute the statement even once. Now, before we go to the do while construct, let's take a look at an example. I have here a number, count is equal to 0. What I am doing is I have a do here followed by while count greater than 0. Although my count is 0, I am coming into this while, that is the do while, printing the message welcome and then reducing the count. From 0 it becomes -1. Is -1 greater than 0? It is false. So it will come and continue to execute whatever are the statements here. Now this is an example of a do while loop as opposed to a while loop. The fundamental difference in a while and a do while is in the do while you are checking the condition after the statements are executed at least once. So even this condition was false to start with, but still you ended up executing these two statements because it does the condition check after executing that statement block at least once. That is what you really mean by a do while. Now just in case you want to look at the syntax of the do while using a graphical method, this is how it will look. So here I have the entry into the do while. These are my statements. These were the statements where I was printing the value of count and reducing the value of count. After I do that, I check the condition. This was that condition at the end. If the condition was false, I would continue. Otherwise, I would go back here, come back, execute it, and again check the condition. So the moral of the story between while and do while is, in do while, I try to check the condition, or I only check the condition after this particular fellow is executed at least once. The condition may be false, but it doesn't prevent it from executing at least once. Whereas in while, it will execute 0 times if the condition is false initially. So this is what you really mean by a do while loop. The syntax could be like this: statement 1, statement 2, statement 3, statement n. In our case, what are those statements? Print welcome, count is assigned count minus 1 and so on. While test condition. So this is where count greater than 0 is the test condition. Same here. Do is a keyword, while is a keyword. So just be familiar with while, do while. When do you use while? When you want to see that it is not even executed once if it is false. Do while when you want to force it to execute at least once, although it may be false. Now let's take a look at the last kind of iteration statement. Now before we look at the theory, let's look at the example. So your example is just between this particular block here. Okay, just put your focus on this block here. I want to find the sum of the natural numbers between 1 to 50. So what I am doing is I have taken a variable called as sum, made it the value 0. Starting with the first natural number 1, as long as the value of I is less than 50, I am going to add that value of I to sum. The way this for works is like this. This initialization happens only once, that is the first time. Then I check this condition I is less than or equal to 50. If it is true, I am going to add the value of I to sum. After I add the value of I to sum, I come here and increase the value of I. I becomes 2. After I increase the value of 2, 2 is less than or equal to 50. It is again true. The condition is checked. Then I increase sum is 1 plus 2. Sum is 3. Then I is from 2, it becomes 3. Again I check the condition. Again I come here. So this is the way in which a for loop really tends to execute. Just in case you want to take a look, this statement here should give you an idea about how the for loop really runs. So expression 1, in my case, what is expression 1? It is I is assigned the value 1. What is expression 2? It is my test condition I less than or equal to 50. What is expression 3? I plus plus. So any assignment like I is 1, I is 10, checking a condition, increasing, these are all examples of expressions. So what I'm doing is, what are examples of statement 1 to n? It is this sum is sum plus I. So this is a construct used to find the sum of 50 numbers, and this is the general syntax of the for loop which is shown. Now just in case you want to understand, expression 1 normally represents giving initial values to variables. Expression 2 involves a test condition. Expression 3 normally involves increment or decrement, so that this expression 2 at some point ends up becoming false. So just in case you want to take a look at this particular graphically, this is how it will look. So what I'm doing in this for value is for loop. This is the diagram used in a flowchart. For initial value to final value, that is, if you see, I'm checking the condition starting from initial value to final value, executing a series of statements. This is the connector. I go back. I keep executing this block of statements repeatedly as long as the control variable, okay, and the initial value happens to be less than the final value. So the syntax is for control value is equal to initial value to final value. So my initial value in my case was I was 1, final value was 50. So as long as I was between 1 to 50, I kept adding sum to sum plus I. That was what this example of this statement was. Once that addition was done, I come here and I discontinue. So this is an example of the for construct. As I mentioned, all these constructs with innumerable examples will be explained in chapter 10 in control statements. Just get a feel and an idea of these constructs because they're just so important. We're going to refresh them when we come to control statements. Your understanding with examples is going to be crystal clear.